At New Balance, we believe if you run, you're a runner, however you choose to do it. Because when you're not worried about doing things the right way, you're free to discover your way. And that's what running's all about. Run your way at newbalance.com/running.
This episode is brought to you by Shopify. Do you have a point of sale system you can trust, or is it a real POS? You need Shopify for retail. From accepting payments to managing inventory, Shopify POS has everything you need to sell in person. Go to shopify.com/system, all lowercase, to take your retail business to the next level today. That's shopify.com/system.
Now, back to the Larry Kudlow Show.
As we've been talking about these tariffs, and John Carney mentioned that he thought they would be temporary because Mexico and Canada would respond positively with respect to border control and fentanyl and the cartels and so forth. So let's bring in Steve Forbes, the great Steve Forbes, chairman and editor-in-chief of Forbes Media, and most recently the author of Inflation, What It Is, Why It's Bad, and How to Fix It. Steve, thanks for doing this. I'm reading this morning's New York Sun online. Very interesting. Mexico is now open to more U.S. boots on the ground in the war on cartels. This is a Benny Avni story. He's a veteran foreign relations reporter. In a new twist, Mexicans who in the past resisted the idea of American boots on the ground to aid their country's fight against crime cartels are now increasingly open to it, the New York Sun has learned. Very interesting. And you're talking about drug enforcement agencies, the CIA, and more boots on the ground just in general, military representatives in Mexico for training purposes, et cetera, et cetera. So kind of sounds like President Sheinbaum, who has been a little snippety with Trump from day one when he was elected, is coming around, Steve.
Well, I think, as you know, she succeeded a guy named AMLO, who was a far leftist. She's a far leftist. And so they have this strong nationalist streak. You know, Mexico, for years, when we were trying to boycott Cuba, was very instrumental in being a friend of Castro, helping prop up that regime. So they have a history of that because they're next to the United States. And so there's been a lot of bad blood over the years. But I think she realizes, and it's going to be interesting to see if she has the political skills to have more cooperation with the U.S., because she realizes, as do everyone else, that Mexico's in danger of becoming more and more a narco state. Those cartels there, Larry, are now extremely well armed. They have very sophisticated weaponry. They can take on the Mexican army. When you get in a fight with them, it's going to be a real hard one. And so they're losing, in effect, more and more of the control of the country, especially on the local level, in these towns in southern Mexico and elsewhere, and even in the north, where, in effect, they're running the place. And if you're a politician in office and you want to stay in office and have your family be around with you, you turn your back on certain activities.
You don't suppose she's not part of the cartel, I'll call it puzzle, or the cartel maze. She's not part of that, huh?
I have not heard anything to suggest that. There have been other officials in Mexico in the past. I'm not going to name names because you might get in trouble, but who were accused of being footseat with the cartels. And so I think she would, she has a leftist agenda, but she does not want to be, in effect, reduced to being a puppet and having to do stand by while these cartels more and more control the country. So that's why you've got to, in this country, and Donald Trump talked about it a few months ago, of having a campaign in this country, public health campaign, a real one, warning young people of what happens when you take these drugs, what it does to you physically, having pictures and ads of how you're going to look and things like that. So try to start to make a dent in the supply. in the demand, and a booming economy will help that as well, enormously. And also, though, hitting the cartels, you're going to have the cartels starting to fight each other, and that's a good thing. And so I think behind the scenes, they're going to find a way to get this tariff thing out of the way in the next few days. And in Canada, we'll see what Governor Trudeau does, but I think they're scrambling to make sure nothing bad happens. They have an election coming up, and the last thing they want, they can all go, boo, Donald Trump. But the last thing they want is to get wiped out in parliamentary elections because of an even worse economy than those semi-socialists have already brought upon poor Canada.
Governor Trudeau, governor of the 51st state.
It's Ocean Drive in Coney Island.
Ocean Drive is the only luxury rentals in New York with a spectacular ocean view. You wake up in the morning and breathe that ocean air. I'll certify that you're going to live 10 years longer. When I became successful, I wanted to live on the ocean. If you have worked hard, you deserve an apartment on Ocean Drive too. Go to oceandrivenyc.com and reward yourself.
If you're a policeman, fireman, doctor, nurse, or teacher, you qualify for a limited time offer at oceandrivenyc.com. Terms and conditions apply. Here's John Katsimatidis Jr.
Are you paying too much for your home or business heating oil? My family owns and operates United Metro Energy, and we can offer you a lower price and better service right now. No other heating oil company can match our tremendous buying power. We own our own refinery, our own storage tanks, and the largest fleet of company-owned trucks.
We get a 20-cent a gallon tax credit with United Metro Energy's biofuel.
We're a community-conscious, family-run business. We're here for you 24/7. Contact me anytime.
Email john@umecny.com.
This episode is brought to you by Amazon Prime. From streaming to shopping, Prime helps you get more out of your passions. So whether you're a fan of true crime or prefer a nail-biting novel from time to time, with services like Prime Video, Amazon Music, and fast free delivery, Prime makes it easy to get more out of whatever you're into or getting into. Visit Amazon.com/Prime to learn more.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are now boarding Group A. Please have your boarding passes ready to scan. If your phone is cracked, old, or was chewed up by your Chihuahua travel companion, please refrain from holding up the line. And instead, simply go to Verizon and trade in any phone in any condition from one of their top brands for the new Samsung Galaxy S25 Plus with Galaxy AI on Unlimited Ultimate and Watch or Tap, also on now.
Service plan required for Watch or Tap. Trade-in and additional terms apply. See Verizon.com for details.
Well, we have to be careful of that because if Canada ever did decide to join the U.S., they'd probably be clever. And they have 10 provinces up there. They'd say, oh, we're not going to be one state. We're going to be 10 states. You're going to have to give us 20 senators. So we got to be careful how we do this.
Well, I just noticed you called him governor last evening on the TV show and this morning. So I thought I'd fill in that blank. But seriously, though, the new Defense Secretary, Pete Hegseth, has talked about using military troops, U.S. military troops. And, I often wonder out loud why U.S. just doesn't bomb these drug factories in Mexico. China brings in the basic materials for fentanyl, and they get assembled at these drug factories, which are run by the cartels, and maybe we just have to start bombing them. We did this in Colombia years and years ago.
We had back then the great president of Colombia, who in a few years broke the cartels and saved Colombia from utter disaster. Sadly, as we know, they have a leftist president, but thankfully Donald Trump put him in his place the other day. But in terms of Mexico itself, you have to work with the Mexican government. So you just don't do a bombing raid, which would get all sorts of outrages, but you want something as part of a strategic plan. And so that means starting to also consider interdicting those ships that are shipping that stuff. I think we have the intelligence to start doing it, letting the Chinese know. If you have any nationals on those ships, watch out, we're coming after them. And so you go not just wait until it gets on the shores of Mexico, you get it on the high seas.
Wherever there's a problem around the world, Steve, you're going to find China right in the middle of it. We don't have enough time to talk more about it, but your last point is an important point, interdicting these Chinese ships. Anyway, the great Steve Forbes chairman and editor-in-chief, Forbes Media. His book is Inflation, What It Is, Why It's Bad, How to Fix It. Next up, we're going to talk about the oil story with Mike Summers, the president of the American Petroleum Institute. I'm Kudlow. I'll be right back.
I've been matchmaking all my life. I introduced my best friend and his wife. I introduced my program director, Kevin Drosch, to Inhala. And now I'm going to match you with Inhala. Yes, you two should sleep together. Skip the sleep center. Avoid the CPAP machine. Get in bed with Inhala. It's a custom-fit oral appliance. There's no bulky hoses or uncomfortable mask. Inhala works with your private medical insurance and makes the process seamless. I talked to the people at Inhala.com, and they're going to help you just like they helped out Kevin and his fiancée. She'll finally be able to sleep through the night while Kevin is using Inhala. Follow Kevin's sleep journey right here on 77 WABC. Now is the time for a treatment that is right for you. Visit Inhala.com or call 844-INHALA-1. That's 844-INHALA-1. So like my program director, Kevin, skip the sleep center, avoid the CPAP machine, get in bed with Inhala. Inhala.com, INHALA.com.
Now Taxes is 100% free when you file in the TurboTax app if you didn't file with us last year.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, just do your own taxes in the app by 2/18.
What if I have lots of forms?
All good, all 100% free.
What if I had 3 jobs?
Still 100% free.
What if I once saw Bigfoot?
That has nothing to do with taxes, so still 100% free.
Now that's what I'm talking about.
Now this is taxes. See if you qualify in the TurboTax app. Excludes TurboTax Live, must start and file in app by 2/18.